War, a battle, or whatever.
This memorial here in Washington, D.C. pays tribute to Americans killed during the longest and most unpopular war in this nation's history. The only war America ever lost. The war in Vietnam lasted more than a decade. The horror and destruction have all been well documented. It was a political and emotional catastrophe for this country, and for many still haunted by their experience there, it may never go away. The war itself ended in 1975, the final debacle with thousands swept up in a crazy quilt of emotion. And that included many of the more than 640,000 Vietnamese who have since sought refuge in the United States. This man claims to be the most famous of them, more than just an anonymous footnote to history. His name is Nguyễn Cao Kỳ. Kỳ held many positions in Vietnam over the years: Air Force Commander, Vice President, and Premier. He had a reputation for flamboyance, and although it was never proven, it's been said he used his position and contacts to amass considerable wealth. The caption to this 1968 editorial cartoon by Bill Malden reads, "To you it's a war, to me it's a living."
I didn't even take one penny when I was General Air Force Commander and when I was Premier. One penny. If you can find anyone that give me one penny for a favor, I give you my hand. You can think that I am a dumb politician, that I'm not a good fighter, but never say that I'm corrupted.
Today, Kỳ owns a liquor store in California. It is a small, family-run affair, and he says he is barely surviving. But Key's house nearby does not seem like the home of a poor man. He still travels widely and recently visited El Salvador. We asked Kỳ about America's role in Central America and the inevitable comparisons to Vietnam.
Are you saying, though, that the United States should either make a full-fledged commitment or not do anything?
Yeah, I think better. Because like Vietnam, that's a lesson we learn. And that's why now El Salvador, I told all of them, my opinion and my own experience in Vietnam, I will not trust the government. I will not trust the official. I will not trust the politicians.
While in El Salvador, Kỳ suggested there are thousands of Vietnamese refugees worldwide prepared to fight communists in Central America.
You are a warrior of certain repute.
Yes.
Why don't you go down there?
Yeah, I already told them. I already offer my volunteer. If the day you need me, I will come and fight the communists.
What was their reply?
They said thank you, but right now they don't need. I think they think they can handle the problem themselves.
As for the war in Vietnam, Kỳ ultimately blames the United States for the North Vietnamese victory. He says Washington called all the shots, even after the American troops pulled out.
It's very sad that today that most of the people are trying to blame the loss of Vietnam on the Vietnamese and on people like me.
Furthermore, Kỳ condemns those Americans who once opposed the war and today do not address the current political and economic situation in Vietnam.
Many people outside Vietnam, people like Jane Fonda or Senator McGovern, they listen to their propaganda. But I think what happened now, after 80 years of occupation of South Vietnam, they opened their eyes. But instead of saying something about that, like they did, during the war, well, they choose to keep their mouth shut.
We first spoke with Nguyễn Cao Kỳ in 1975 at his villa in Saigon on the very last day of the war. At that time, despite all odds, he vowed to remain in Vietnam.
I'd like you to listen to an interview.
Do you fear for your life?
As I said, no, never. Sometime you and I, we have to die sometime, some way.
You wouldn't use that helicopter that's sitting outside
To go where?
to try to get away.
No, I don't think so.
Why is that helicopter sitting outside?
It's always there.
You did take that helicopter the last day.
Because at that time, at that moment, I had hopes that they will give me something to fight the communists. You know, you can't fight by yourself with a Colt 45.
If Nguyễn Cao Kỳ is perhaps the most famous Vietnamese refugee in America, another refugee, now living not far from this Vietnam memorial, is perhaps the most infamous. This is the man who pulled the trigger. His name is Nguyễn Ngọc Loan, and he was Saigon's chief of police. Loan's execution of a Viet Cong prisoner during the 1968 Tet Offensive provoked shock and outrage worldwide.
What do you say to the people who look at what happened in Vietnam and think of you as a criminal?
Well, that's kind of tough to say. I don't think that I can explain what happened. To judge me, people have to be on the same spot, same moment, same time, same situation. Then they may have a different point of view. Right now, my only answer is that I just let the men upstairs decide.
Today, Loan runs a modest pizzeria in a suburban shopping mall. In 1978, the Immigration and Naturalization Service sought to rescind Loan's permanent resident status on the grounds of moral turpitude. However, Loan contends what he did was legal under the edict of military law. Nevertheless, he does regret he never confiscated the photographer's film. Still, for Loan, what happened in Vietnam that day happened a long, long time ago.
For me, I make up my mind and just try to let everything that belongs to the past belong to the past.
Loan says his life in America has been a struggle, but he is proud that his 5 children are doing well.
When I apply for a job, I am overqualified. My wife speaks French a little bit. Do not speak English. So I couldn't find a job easily. And we have to rely on family business and trying to learn to earn a living and trying to send our children as high as possible in college.
But is Loan happy here?
Well, happy or not, it's all relative. It all depends on the people living around you, accepting you or not, the customer living around, the children living around here, the family. If they accept us, they accept our children, that means that we belong to the same community.
If happiness, as Loan says, is relative, feeling at home in America is another matter. And what Loan shares with Nguyễn Cao Kỳ, besides notoriety, is a desire to return to Vietnam.
Where you have your family with you, the children with you, it's your place to live. But on the other hand, your country, your people, that's different. You still dream about the day that you can come back.
We have our own country, our own traditions that I think are one of the best in the whole world. That's why it's very difficult for me, even after 8 years, to become really Americanized.
This is Robert Wiener, CNN, on special assignment.